Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. Sorry, man, you're killing me.
Thanks for the outtake. I appreciate it.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is...
Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. In this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different. One of the things I talk about, and if this is your first time to my channel, I talk about helping the average person reach financial freedom in 10 years or less, even if you're not starting from the best position. The way I did it was with buy and hold real estate. I invest locally and I self-manage. Someday, I'm probably going to have a property manager.
But not today.
So today what I have is my friend Mike, Millennial Mike, from here on YouTube. You should check out his channel. Link is in the comments below. Mike uses one of the strategies that I used, house hacking in a high cost of living area. You actually live in Seattle?
Seattle area.
Okay. Couldn't catch me in King County if they paid me. And invest out of state. Mm-hmm. Investing out of state, you use a property manager.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what I want to cover today is things that I haven't done. How did you find the property manager? What did you use to determine if it was a property manager you wanted to work with? And how do you make sure they're doing a good job?
So when it comes to investing out of state, most people are going to be investing in an area that they're not familiar with, that's going to be so far away from them that they can't just get out there to fix a problem or deal with a tenant. And so you really have to have a good network of people that you trust in place, ready to handle your problems for you, or any number of different things could go wrong. You could miss getting repairs done and potentially have a lawsuit, or you could get taken advantage of. People could be stealing from you. There's just a lot of problems that could happen. And I really do not recommend someone manage from a distance if they're getting started. It's different if you house hacked and then maybe moved away. But if you're saying to yourself, I want to get started investing in real estate, I'm going to go buy all these rentals in another state and I'll manage them from afar, you're asking for problems. So it's really important to find a property manager, which is much easier said than done, but it's important to find a property manager that you can trust, that you can rely on, who's going to have your best interests at heart, who's going to take care of your properties, who's going to collect the rents, distribute them to you on time and fairly. But again, easier said than done. How do you go about doing that? The number one most important thing that I think you need as part of your team when it comes to investing out of state is a network of other investors in the area. Because anybody can just go on Google and be like, Gary, Indiana property managers. I guess we'll start making phone calls. And if that's all you have, maybe that's all you got. If you have to do it, you have to do it. Personally, I would rather take the referral from somebody that I know and trust. So our mutual friend, Mark, Maskey Finance, he actually recommended the first property manager that I used in Gary, Indiana. He recommended to me a husband and wife couple. Now, from his recommendation, I gave him a phone call. I got a copy of their contract and I looked over it. Obviously, I figured out what I have to pay them. And they're actually the cheapest property managers I've ever heard of, 8%. Most charge 10. I've heard as much as 14 to 15.
How many units did you have when you were negotiating that?
First one.
Yeah.
One unit, 8%. That's their going rate. So I was quite impressed. But he sent me a referral for the husband and wife group. I called them up, got their contract, figured out what they were going to charge. Obviously, these are basic things, but I also wanted to learn more about their eviction process and what their type of tenants are that they're looking for. One of the most eye-opening conversations that I had was, believe it or not, here in the Seattle area with our very rich Boeing employees, Amazon employees, and other tech employees, saying that you want your tenants to have 3 times the monthly rent and income and a credit score of 690. Well, that's all good and well here. In Gary, Indiana, if you have a 600 credit score, you're going to buy a house because houses are 50,000. Why would you be renting? So she frankly told me right out the gate, I'm going over these credit history reports and they're not going to have good credit. They're not going to make as much money. She has a different criteria that she uses. And so to me, I was hesitant to get started with that, but I took Mark, the other individual who I trusted. I took his advice that they were a good manager, and they've done a pretty good job for me. So you have to be willing to take the advice and not micromanage. Otherwise, you're going to fail. You need to be able to let go of what's going on and put that trust in someone else because you don't know the area. You don't know the clientele. So be willing to hear things that maybe you're not expecting. And then from there, yes, you want to know what type of tenants, what the eviction process looks like. As you mentioned earlier, King County, it's not fun to evict somebody in Seattle, California, New York, all of these states where they make it very difficult. considering working with a property manager, you want to figure out what their timeline is, because that for you, that's your bottom line. How long is somebody going to potentially be in a property not paying you money? And then what's that going to look like to get them out? Well, I've been pleased. The only eviction that I had to do took me all of like 3.5 weeks, and we were able to get them out. So I was very impressed. I think I heard you say you beat that recently down here, right?
But not me. I haven't gone through eviction yet, but I have a friend, an actual real friend. I'm not talking about me and third party. It took 14 days.
That's impressive.
So it was 3-day pay or quit, 10-day notice. Sheriff was there 14th day.
And that's here in Washington.
Here in Washington, not in King County.
Not in King County.
Which is why you couldn't catch me in King County, even if you paid me.
Yeah.
One of the reasons. So evictions are something that matters to owners because it's one of the most expensive things we can go through. And as an owner, we just don't want to have to displace a tenant when we can find another way to do it. Mm-hmm. Can you list off in priority, what are the things that you're looking for with that property manager?
Yeah. So the most important thing is the referral, because you want someone else to have made the mistakes for you and gone through the hard work that it takes to find a good property manager. So if you get that referral, that's where I would start. From there, you want to figure out what their communication is like. Do they like to email? Do they like to text? Are they only going to work business hours? That's not going to work. People have emergencies all throughout the middle of the night. Not only tenants, but also me. I might have some questions. And if you're investing from a distance and we're on different time zones, that comes into effect. So communication is very important. It's very hard to have a good relationship with a property manager or anyone that you deal with when you invest at a distance if you cannot get consistent communication in a timely manner. It's very important. From there, what is their past performance like? So I always ask about, how many evictions have you done this month? How many evictions have you done this year? How many late payments have you gotten on houses this month? Because I want to have an idea of what I could be potentially seeing with my units that I'm going to be placing with them. I don't want a property manager not stressing about evictions because they know they're going to pick up the first month's rent and as a fee for placing a new tenant, and they don't really care if they're not getting paid because they're going to pick up a bunch more money anyways. I don't want to play that game. So I want them to explain to me what their process is in terms of their eviction process. Then from there, I'm going to ask for referrals from the property manager. Hey, who are a couple other people who you manage properties for? Could I call them and ask them about their experience? That's probably right up there with the initial referral, getting other people's opinion of them. And yeah, they're probably going to cherry pick their favorite landlords and give to you, but it's better than nothing. And the very last thing that I'm concerned with is price. And I see people get hung up on different forums and websites all the time about 8%, 10%, 12% for a property manager. At the end of the day, if I was paying 10% to one property manager and 12% to another, but the one property manager who's more expensive, I don't have evictions and I'm getting tenants placed quickly and I'm not having a bunch of repairs and they communicate properly, that extra 2% will immediately be covered by the cost of just one eviction. An eviction is a costly thing because you got to pay for it twice. Not only do you pay the attorney and you pay your manager, but then you also lose money because you're not getting rent for at least that month and probably 2 months because now you have to repair it and you got to put it back on the market. So it's a cost that you unfortunately have to pay twice. So having a good property manager ameliorates that whole situation and just makes it a lot better for you.
There's a couple of reasons why I don't myself want to use property management, and you self-manage the house hack that you have here in Washington State, right?
Yeah.
Because you're close to it.
Yep.
So if you're looking at having a property manager, the main thing outside of evictions for me would be tenant turnover. And it's not so much that percentage that they're charging every month. And the reason I asked how many units you had when you were negotiating and they had that 8% is if you're just starting out and you have 1 or 2 properties, you're probably going to get that 8, 9, or 10% monthly fee. And as you add units, you gain more negotiating power to be able to get a better rate. But for me, the thing that has so far, because I invest locally, not because I invest at a distance, that stopped me from having a property manager, is as an owner, tenant turnover is very expensive. It's somewhere between $5,000 and $15,000 to update things, do flooring and paint.
Right.
But a property management company, part of their business model is making money off of tenant turnovers.
Right.
So there are some other options that you can ask for with property management. One is a flat rate fee instead of a percentage rate, which in Gary, Indiana, it might make sense to do a percentage. In Seattle, where you're renting a house out for $4,500, I would be looking to do a flat rate fee instead of giving away 10% of that.
Right.
But if you can find a property management company that doesn't charge for tenant turnover, I would probably start working with property management tomorrow. Normally, they're going to take a month's rent or half a month's rent. So they're motivated to have the tenants turn over. So even when it comes time to just negotiating the lease for next year, property management companies can be as rude as they want to sometimes because the tenant turnover benefits them.
Right.
The third question I asked you at the beginning was, how are you making sure your property management is doing a good job?
Well, so that's actually an interesting question. So my property manager was recommended to me from my mentor, and he's had nothing but good experiences with him. They've managed entire remodel projects for him on multiple different properties. They do a fantastic job. They have everything in-house that you could ask for. And I've had, I would say, a good experience with them, but not a great experience with them. I haven't had the same level of service that he gets from them. They're not as communicative with me. Oftentimes I have to send them a follow-up email to hear back from them. And it's a little bit frustrating. Now, there's never been a problem. I've never had something bad happen. So I'm hesitant to be like, oh, this isn't going to work for me. They're not doing a good job, especially when I hear so many people talk about the nightmare stories they have with their property managers. So yeah, do I get delayed emails and have to remind them? Yes, but I've never had anything stolen from me, broken. I'm not losing tenants left and right. I've had one eviction and 6 units over the last 2.5 years. So overall, things are going really well. And really the way that you maintain whether or not things are going well is by just being present and having the mental awareness to check on things. Are you making sure that the payments are coming in when they're supposed to and you're actually being paid properly? It gets a little bit confusing when you have 6 properties and there's always some minor repair going on in one of them. And so the numbers that you anticipate minus the property management fee are off a little bit because a repair was done here or there was a cost to repaint something here. But you got to kind of pay attention to that kind of stuff so that you make sure the money's coming in, it's coming in on time, which is important for a lot of people. My property manager, they're like, well, what we do is we process payments on the 28th of the month. It should get there within the first week of the following month. And then obviously holidays and stuff adjust for that. But there has been times where they process their payments late. And now for me, that's not a huge issue because I don't rely on that cash flow to live. My mentor, Mark, does. If he gets something a couple days late, well, he's got bills coming in. So that is something that, again, it hasn't affected me. I've never not been paid. I've never been paid so late that it was an issue. But it did get me to a point where I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to try a different property manager with one of the new properties that I got. I'm going to see how it goes with them. So I ran them through the same ringer that I've already told you about. I've actually had a slightly better experience. But again, because I haven't had a negative experience, I'm hesitant to switch units over and cause a negative experience.
If you're going to hire a contractor to do a $5,000 deck project, you're probably going to get several quotes. Just because you've worked with a contractor in the past doesn't mean you're going to stay with them. So with property management, it doesn't take a really bad experience to make you switch. Sometimes it can just be a better product from someone else.
Right.
So there are reasons why some people will want property management, especially if you're investing at a distance. If you have a soft heart and don't think you'll be able to stand by your lease and hold somebody to what they agreed to, you might want a property management company. But if you'd like to know some of the hidden costs that come with property management, check out this video here that I did. Hey, post-edit guy. This video, thank you, right here that I did the other day that talks about those hidden costs with property management. Mike, I guarantee somebody's going to have some questions. Yeah. One, about investing at a distance, choosing your market, getting your property management in place. If they want to reach out, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, if you just go on YouTube or Google and type in Millennial Mike, I should pop up. Same thing with Instagram, you'll find me. And I talk about investing at a distance and all of the intricacies that go into that. We talk about all of it on my channel.
Awesome. I actually watch your stuff. I think it's great.
Appreciate it.
And someday, if I ever invest at a distance, I'm actually going to reach out to you and I have a bunch of questions, just like people watching. Thanks a lot for coming in today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on your Dion Talk. Until our next video, thanks for coming to his Dion Talk.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
I need to get a new post-edit guy. And then, hang on, I'm going to edit this. I want to make sure I didn't check which mic we were on.
Wrong one. Want to restart? Better quality. It's all right. That was a trial run. I should have brought water bottle.
I will listen to it. I have water here too if you want. And 19 types of vodka. Thanks a lot for coming in today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on your Dion Talk.
So now you're going to say, and this will be edited.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to get this one better than the intro.
Right, I'll get it.
Until our next video, thanks for coming to his Dion Talk.
All right, I'm not going to laugh.
Good luck.
You ready? Until
our next talk.
Until our next talk.
Thanks for coming to his Dion Talk. Or until our next video.
All right.
You got messy.
All right, my bad. It's your catchphrase.
There you go.
All right, hold on. When it comes to investing, you miss all the shots that you don't take.